guys for coming out. It means a lot to me, but I also know that means the literal world to all the vendors out here that rely on you for their support. Woo! I heard somebody. Yeah! All right, so I figure what I'll do is I'll tell you a little bit about my life, my backstory. Believe it or not, I didn't come out of the womb vegan, or did I? Get into a little bit about fitness, tell you guys about the community that I'm building, and then open the floor for any questions that you guys might have. So, was I born vegan? I would actually like to argue I was born vegan. I was just mercilessly tricked for years by my parents into thinking that I had to eat meat or I had to eat dairy, or the school system. I used to remember the Got Milk posters in high school. But my journey kind of developed over time. I think the first time that I can recollect thinking I might be vegan before I even knew what the word vegan meant was when I was 4, and my dad took me fishing, which I thought was going to be fun. It was traumatic. I realized when he asked me, do I want to eat fish, that this thing that we get on the plate is also the same thing that swims in the water. And when I realized that, I threw myself on the dock and started crying and said I wanted the fish to go back in the water. I didn't want them to be killed for me to be able to eat them. And then I probably went home and had a ham sandwich. But at that time, I think something started to click a little bit. Fast forward to me being about 10 years old, my best friend came over, and her mom would always bring us McDonald's. But she looked at me and she said, if you eat that hamburger, you are killing a cow. Immediately, I was filled with rage and anger and upsetness. Why is my best friend going to question me? Why are they going to tell me that I'm wrong? Is it okay because my parents do it? Her parent does it? Like, is there anything wrong with it? But I knew in my heart she was right. I knew right then and there that logically it made sense. You do have to kill a cow to get a hamburger. So I didn't go vegan then. I didn't even go vegetarian then. I just slowly started removing animal products from my diet. 10 years old, I knew nothing about nutrition. I'll steal this from Robert Cheek, if any of you guys know him. I didn't know what to eat, just who I did not want to eat. Thanksgiving rolled around, very, very influential holiday for me because turkey was one of the things I allowed myself to eat before becoming vegetarian. And I saw the turkey on the table and decided at 10 years old, that was it. I'm done. I'm not going to eat turkey. I'm going to be vegetarian, save the world. That's the end of the story. Didn't realize that there was more to be developed. I was 13 years old, riding on the way to middle school with my mom. You know, I'm this vegetarian kid, so she had bought me a PETA magazine, so maybe I could learn how to cook something. And it said something along the lines of, why vegetarian isn't enough. I opened this magazine up, reading through it furiously, ready to smack the editor. And I realized that for the same reasons I went vegetarian, I had to go vegan. As soon as I read it, I realized I can't go back. I looked at my mom and I said, I think I need to go vegan. She looks at me with wide eyes and drops me off at middle school. I thought I'd try it for a week. It's now been 20 years. So this is where I like to play the game. Usually I start with the game, but we'll play it now. I like games. Can I get you to please, if you can hear me, and you're vegan, raise your hand. Woo! All right, all the way down there. Okay, keep them up, keep them up. Have you been vegan 1 year or longer? All right. Let's go to 5. 5 years or longer. I see a lot of hands back there. 10 years or longer. 15? 20? Anybody past 20? How many? 35? 45. 45 years vegan. That is incredible. Incredible. And so usually it's at this time where I will point to that person. Usually I can see them a little closer, but I will say thank you because somebody had to pave the way. It was extremely hard, at least in my eyes, to be vegan 20 years ago. But I can't even imagine 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years ago. Some people might not know this, but the veganism movement began in the 1940s. And what is at least to me, extremely inspiring is learning that a lot of the oppressed people during the Holocaust who experienced being put into cattle cars that lived after this decided to start animal rights movements. People that had been brutalized, hurt, still came out of that experience with kindness in their heart and wanted to stop some of that additional pain that was being put on animals. So I always find that inspiring. That's something that makes me think like, wow, I'm grateful I'm vegan in this century instead of last. There's so many more options now. I mean, literal veg fest. This wasn't around in the 40s. So very cool to see this. So 13, I go vegan thinking that's it. And then I had no clue that I would become a bodybuilder. 15, walk into the gym for the first time ever. The biggest trainer there tells me, you'll never build any muscle as a vegan. And guess what? I 100% believed him. I believed it. He was like 260 pounds, about the size that I am now. I was 125 pounds. I believed him. I thought he must know what he's talking about, and vegans probably can't build any muscle. But I kept going back. I kept going back to the gym, and then I actually built some muscle. Then I found people like Robert Cheek, again, people that have been vegan for 30 years, paving the way, and realized that vegans can build muscle, that being vegan doesn't hold you back from eating great food, having great health, building muscle, being an athlete, being a man, being a woman. Like, anyone can go vegan. And so I still kept it mostly to myself. I was bullied a lot as a kid. I didn't want to tell people I was vegan and then have to defend myself or explain myself. I think I was maybe a little insecure. I am maybe shocking to people listening to this. I'm kind of pacing back and forth. I'm not an extrovert. I am an introverted person. It takes a lot of effort for me to get up here and do this, but I do this for the animals. And so a few years back, I started wearing vegan t-shirts wherever I went, and I think that's an awesome form of activism. Shout out to the Vegan Squad table over there if you guys want to get a t-shirt, and there's other t-shirts out here too. You don't just have to support us. But by wearing the shirts, you can find other people along the same mission. Like, I don't think me wearing the shirt changes somebody's mind per se and makes them go vegan, but when I'm at Trader Joe's and I got a vegan shirt on and I'm going down the aisle and somebody's like, yo, you're vegan? I'm like, yeah, why? And they're like, I'm vegan too. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. So it's helped me meet a lot of people and build friendships. And I think if you work out and you wear the shirt to the gym, people are like, what? You can actually build muscle as a vegan? That's ridiculous. I thought you guys were all like skinny, hippie, emo kids that died of malnutrition. And it's just not true. So all that to say, started to get more into activism, more into speaking. I became a bodybuilding coach myself. Shout out to Maya, I'm going to put her on the spot. We got another vegan bikini athlete right here. And I think that being on the stage is one good way of doing activism. But I worked a lot from home. I worked from home 14, 16 hours a day, speaking to hundreds of people a day through the phone, but most of them just clients. I felt a little bit lonely until this one here basically moved in, Alex. He came out to help me edit some videos, started actually giving me some ideas, making my business better. And along the way, I realized like having this close-knit community of people was life-changing. It became my drug of choice, being around other vegans. So I told Jeremy earlier today, like, being at these veg fests it's Christmas for me. So I get Christmas like 12 times a year. I'm literally in Airbnbs traveling around the country to be at as many of these as possible and speak and bring people out and support the vendors and educate people about veganism and show that you can build a little bit of muscle too. And I realized I wanted to keep these connections flowing in between the events. So for the past 4 or 5 months or so, I've worked about 80 hours a week, hired the best team in the world to create the Vegan Squad community. Our table is over there. We connect people online, literally around the world, and show them that being vegan can be fun, can be fit, can be sexy, you can still have friends. And we've created some problems though. We've had about 4 people join in the last month that have now turned vegan. And so they don't have any vegan family members. They don't have any vegan friends in person. They don't know what they're going to bring for Thanksgiving. So we support them. We have an awesome community of people that can come in and give them love. And quite frankly, this is usually where I cry, be the support that I wish I had at 13. And my family wasn't a bad group of people, but I was the only vegan I knew for like 4 or 5 years. I mean, I forced my little brother. He had no choice. But outside of that, I had nobody else that I could compare notes with, nobody I could talk to about it and say, so-and-so made fun of me today. I just had to internalize all of that. And I think that's why it took me so long to become an activist. So, put the pressure on you guys a little bit. If you're vegan for the animals, does simply not eating the animals save any of them? Or is that more neutral? Can we speak up? Can we become activists? Is it that hard to wear a shirt? If the answer is yes, is it that hard to share a post on Facebook? Is it that hard to come out to a veg fest? Is it that hard to support these vendors? I encourage people to speak up. And realize if you're one of those vegans like myself, if you were the only vegan in your family, it's a blessing and a curse. Because when your family, I had cousins and aunts and uncles who would make fun of me for being vegan, and I was the only vegan that they knew. Now, when I go back for Thanksgiving, they're going to be like, oh my God, you see what John's up to? Look at the bodybuilding vegan, look at the bodybuilding vegan, he's doing these things. Now, these same people that used to make fun of me are proud of me because it's gone somewhere. But also, I'm the person they think of when they think of the word vegan. And so for any of you, if you're nice, if you're happy, if you're kind, if your family hopefully loves you, if not, maybe consider leaving. If they support you, even if they're not yet vegan, you are what they think of when they think of the word vegan. So I realize I've kind of bamboozled you all. This is supposed to be like a fitness Q&A, but I figured I wanted to put a little bit of the story out there, speak to my younger self. I wish I had heard these words when I was younger. I wish, quite frankly, I thought activists were crazy for a long time. And now I'm realizing it's crazy to not speak up, to not speak for the animals. So I encourage my younger self, I encourage anybody listening to lean into that. You don't have to cover up who you are just because the rest of the world doesn't accept it. You can be you can be kind, you can be strong. You can not eat animals and still build muscle. Woo! Thank you, Chris. Chris is awesome, guys. If you guys see any of the social media for Veg Fest, it's probably been done through him. So give him a round of applause. He's out here literally working right now too. So huge team effort. We can't do any of this alone. So I will open the floor. Does anybody have any questions that I can get into? We can talk about protein. We can talk about training, supplements, literally anything. We got a little crowd of people here. Any fitness questions? Any vegan questions? Any question? Yes, please. Thank you. Calcium without dairy. Great question. I'm probably going to talk about this a lot longer than you wanted me to. So, when we think of calcium, we do think of dairy because that's what's been quite literally and figuratively shoved down our throats by the dairy industry. The problem with getting I'm going to start with the problem. The problem with getting calcium from dairy is that dairy is very acidic. So while you will be actually taking in calcium, you're taking in the rest of that product as well that's acidic. Our bones are very non-acidic. So our body will actually start to leach some of that acid into our bones. Our bones will, to try and counterbalance the pH, to balance out that acidity, leach the calcium out of our bones. So that's why we still see women that drink lots of milk still get osteoporosis. You can, I mean, I've been vegan for 20 years now, get all the calcium that you need from plants. I don't supplement with calcium. As a coach, that's not something I've ever see like my athletes come back where they need calcium. Lots of like leafy greens, spinach has calcium. Quite frankly, it's just not one that I really worry about. It's fortified in some foods, but I've worked with about 500 athletes who've never had an issue with calcium. Most of the athletes were vegan. Biggest thing for bone health and calcium in general is resistance training. If we're just walking, like that's great for health, but we're not putting extra load and resistance on our muscles and our bones. And that extra load and resistance actually helps strengthen those bones. So even my mom, she doesn't love to work out, but I'm like, you should do a little something. Like she loves to walk. I'll go walk with her all the time. But I tell her a couple days a week, add some weight on there. Do something, even do some body weight exercises. Thank you though, great question that probably, anytime one person asks it, 20 people are thinking. So anybody else help me out? Throw me any type of questions. Awesome. Haven't been fertilized with what? With bone meal. That's a good question. That's a good question as well. Can I repeat it? How do you find vegetables that haven't been fertilized with bone meal? Quite frankly, I don't know the answer to that question. I will be honest, if there's a question I don't know the answer to. Where my brain starts to go with that, at least for me, I'm vegan for the animals, like a million miles above anything else. Like health is mildly important to me, but I'm probably going to go to Vegan Gator and get a vegan burger that's not healthy after this. The environment's very important as well. I think that kind of goes in with the animals. Can't really destroy the environment and have a place for the animals. But it makes me think of like the sugar question as well. A lot of like white sugars are bleached with animal bones. A lot of people don't know that. But the problem is they don't say it on the label. It'll just say sugar or white sugar. And about, I want to say a third of the sugar produced in the United States uses that process. So even though Oreos, inherently vegan based on the label, may or may not have that sugar. And it's impossible to tell. So the way that I think about it is, well, if we could get rid of the beef industry in general and not have any of the cow bones that they're using for the sugar processing process, then it'd probably work itself out as well. So trying to focus on the overarching thing, getting more people aware, getting more people to eat less meat, then we'll have less of these byproducts, probably similar with gelatin for like capsules. Once we get rid of the cattle industry, they'll just use plant-based capsules. So, okay. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, we had, well, you were first. Yeah, I'll come back to you though. Okay. The microphone is freaking out. It knew this question was coming. Where do you get your protein? Do you get enough protein? And can you get protein without mock meats? Yes. So, this number is going to be shocking, and I don't recommend it for anyone else. Most of this year, I've been doing about 370 grams of protein a day for myself. Again, though, I am the world's largest vegan bodybuilder, so I'm not recommending that for the average person. What I would say, well, may I ask you, what are your goals? Lose weight, gain muscle. Okay, great. So I believe, based on everything I've seen, that the United States is, don't go over there. All right, thank you. It was trying to teach me to not go over there, but I just had to be blatantly told, don't go over there. So, roundabout way, I will get to this. I think that we've been literally and figuratively told we have to eat all this protein, had protein shoved down our throats. It's like this in the United States. I don't think it's as much like this in the rest of the world, especially, I think the China study is a great area that we can look at when they researched the amount of protein that people were getting in China, specifically through animal products. The people that ate less protein from less animal products lived longer, had less diseases. So, long roundabout way of saying, I think most people, if you're not like an avid gym fanatic, 40 to 50 grams of protein a day is all you need. And you'll get that just through whole foods, unprocessed plant-based foods. So potatoes, broccoli, lentils, oats. Don't have to like really focus on protein if you're just getting enough calories. But like you said, build muscle, lose fat. For those people, I typically recommend closer to a gram per pound of body weight, gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. In that range. Could be like three quarters of a gram. Probably still make great progress on half of a gram per pound of body weight per day. But it's just kind of how serious are you? Like Maya, she walked away. Competitor, I'm going to put hers at about a gram per pound. But you can get that through whole foods, including things like tofu. And we'll get into the whole tofu thing in a second, but tofu, tempeh, lentils, beans. Be careful with the lentils and beans so the fiber doesn't get too high. But you can certainly do that through more of a less processed and not mock meats. If you're willing to do things kind of in the middle, like TVP is another one, extremely cheap. It's basically defatted soy protein. Or making seitan yourself at home with Vital Wheat Gluten. That's like one of my best performing YouTube videos of all time, is just how to make seitan at home. It's so cheap, so easy to make. But yeah, hopefully did that kind of summarize it. If you got any more questions, I got some awesome coaches at the Vegan Squad coaching table. They'd be happy to show you some of the things we use too. Yeah. And then you were next. Yes, I use protein powders, and I don't view it as like something like super special or something. Like 25 grams of protein from a protein powder isn't really any different than 25 grams of protein from tofu or beans and rice or like whatever it is. The upsides to protein powder are a few. One, it's very concentrated, so if you just want protein, use protein powder. It's easy, like I can just go make a shake in 30 seconds, like fast. And then outside of that, though, really it's nothing any different. I know plenty of other people that bodybuild and compete that don't use protein powder. They just use foods. For me, I like the sweet foods, so I'll mix in protein powder either in a smoothie or like a cream of rice bowl or oats, or I'll take that seitan recipe and instead of using savory spices, I'll do like protein powder, the Vital wheat gluten, bananas, and make like a protein banana bread. So, yeah. Another one. Too much fiber, can it be a problem? Yeah, oh, yes. That is something I've pushed. I think you got to find what works for you. All of this kind of goes out the window, like what works for you. I've worked with a lot of different people, and not everybody's cookie cutter. I've also found that when building meal plans, like tofu doesn't digest the best for everyone. Seitan doesn't digest the best for everyone. And there is no like rhyme or reason with it. So as a coach, I'll start someone on a meal plan to try and assess what foods are safe and which ones aren't, because it just does seem to be so variable. So please take everything with approaching it with yourself, with what you already know about yourself. But yeah, for digestion, how individual foods digest for you, like tofu might be fine, but then I've found like some culprits or like stubborn ones. Like quinoa in like a regular amount is fine, but like a bodybuilder trying to eat a lot of food with quinoa does not work. Like I had literally a client, she's like, I threw up. Like she had been on rice for a few weeks and she's like, I want to swap the rice, same calories of quinoa. I'm like, go for it. Next day, she's like, I throw up, I'm back to rice. Like no quinoa for me. So it seems to be that, at least from an athletic perspective, and this is where I run into it as a coach, not general public, but vegans that are trying to be at top of their game in different sports, we'll see a lot of junk food vegans doing well because the food is processed, so it can in some ways be digested a little bit easier. If you're eating tons of salads, quinoas, beans, lentils, your fiber's getting at 150, 200 grams a day, our stomachs just can't handle it. So I try with my athletes to definitely have some fiber. We want fiber because that helps basically offset all the negatives of what people have done for years of eating meat. It helps clean out arteries, clean out digestion, keep food moving through us. But too much can be a problem, and you'll usually notice that. So, good question. Thank you for bringing that up. I will say it here because a lot of people still need to hear this. A lot of vegans need to hear this. There's nothing wrong. Again, digestion individual digestions vary, but as a blanket statement, there's nothing wrong with eating tofu. There's nothing wrong with soy products, including for men, because the estrogenic compounds in tofu are phytoestrogens. They're not the same as like the estrogen that we produce. I got tired of tofu after like 15 years, but for like 15 years, every single day, tofu. No problems whatsoever. Did not reflect poorly on blood work. Same with my clients. And if we're truly concerned about estrogen, we got a lot of other things that we can look to as a society first. Alcohol is the number one. And then the second one is using plastics. The cheap plastics that we use, that we throw away, that our cups might sit in, or our drinks will sit in our cars that get hot. As those plastics break down, they release estrogen. Or, please, whatever you do, you can ask my girlfriend, wherever she is, I care about her, I love her a lot. I yelled like, don't microwave that, because she was gonna use like one of those reusable, microwavable containers. Like we have, Alex can tell me, like 12 giant glass bowls that we take with us everywhere, because microwaving those plastics is just absolutely, you can put cold food in plastic and eat it cold, but please don't heat it up. That's all I'm gonna say. I was hoping you'd have a question. We got another jacked vegan out here. All right.
So, were you testing your
Yes, yeah. My parents were a little bit like, oh no, he's vegan. Like, is he healthy? Let's send him to a nutritionist, get a bunch of blood work done. Came back just fine. The nutritionist's like, just keep doing what you're doing. And I was at 15 before I really knew anywhere near as much as I know now. And favorite protein? I am like a big protein powder guy. Like I said, like I think my favorite meal, the one that I look forward to most, is my pre-gym meal. So I call it my pre-workout meal. I'll take regular white rice, throw it in a blender, blend it up really nice, put it in a container, add some water and microwave it. And it kind of makes this like thick rice, almost like, not a pudding, like a rice concoction. And then I'll mix in protein powder. I'll mix in like some sun butter or some nut butter, almond butter, blueberries. Oh, I use veg protein, and that's a pea protein blend. So pea protein is great for powders. I also like soy protein for powders. What I don't love as much is the brown rice, just because it's really, really gritty. If you've ever had a vegan protein powder that tastes like almost like chalk in your mouth, it's usually like a brown rice, or it has some brown rice in there. Yeah. Too much protein, is it bad for your kidneys? Great question. I'm glad you brought that one up. So, I've had my kidneys checked for a long time. I'm almost 400 grams of protein a day for this entire year. And I have heard this before. And so, upon doing some digging, when doctors have patients that are going through kidney failure or on dialysis, they put them on low protein diets. And that is not because protein damages your kidneys, but once your kidneys are damaged, they can't filter out that protein from your blood. So, eating high protein doesn't damage kidneys. What can damage kidneys? What does damage kidneys? Usually a lot of things that non-vegans would have. High blood pressure is the number one. They call it the silent killer, but it also silently kills your kidneys. So if your blood pressure is high, think of your kidneys as like a coffee filter. It can have water drip through it, but if you have a pressure washer going through it, it's going to destroy it. Problem with kidneys is that they do not recover. Once kidney values become impaired, once your kidney function drops, your pretty much best case scenario is don't let it drop anymore. And so high blood pressure is the main problem for kidneys, not a high protein diet. I have all of my athletes do blood work. We put protein pretty high. Kidney values are fine. The only thing that I really, really harp on them about is make sure they test their blood pressure, make sure that doesn't get elevated. Ways to improve blood pressure are walking, cardio, not being overly fat if you're fat. Those are basically where I would go with that from. So great question, because a lot of people do think too much protein is bad for your kidneys. But is there too much protein, or is too much protein bad? I think so. It's like a variable. Like, I had a friend who was trying to gain weight, about a 150-pound guy eating like 300 grams of protein a day. Protein is the most filling of all nutrients. If you don't believe me, go be like me. I chugged for a promotional video 100 grams of protein in a shake, and I was supposed to go eat pizza after. I didn't feel like eating for like 2 hours. There was only 400 calories, but like drinking that much protein all at once just completely made me not want to eat anything else. I was very full, like uncomfortably full. So protein is very filling. So when you eat that much protein, it kind of takes away your ability to eat other things like carbs. And carbs are great for performance. If you're trying to be a performance athlete, carbs should be through the roof. I'm at like 800 grams of carbs a day right now, because that is what our bodies run on. Our bodies can basically turn carbs into energy, whereas protein, yes, it's needed for muscle repair and other things like that, but if we're trying to use it for energy, it has to be broken down by the body in a much longer process than carbohydrates, so it's not as efficient. So not really bad for your health to get too much protein, and I will actually hold that. Depends on the protein source. Animal protein has been highly correlated with things like heart disease and other things, and so that's some of where people have been like, well, too much protein might be bad for your health. But when they've cross-referenced those studies versus animal versus plant proteins, it was only the animal proteins. So, any other random questions? All right. Somebody's got something. Anybody? Give me a question. Give me a question. Man, ask myself a question. Where are we from? Cocoa Beach? Is everybody from Cocoa Beach? This is my first time here. So I plan to be back. It's a pretty cool event. Lots of good people here. Actually, I said I would do this. I feel a little bit awkward doing this now. But, all right, so we'll play a mind game, a memory game. Can you guys remember Vegan Squad? Can everybody say Vegan Squad? You guys are amazing. All right, so if you want to join the best community, you can look for these people in these white shirts with the green writing that says Vegan Squad. It is our life's mission to help 10 million people go vegan and be on their vegan journey and to unite and connect vegans around the world. So if you guys want to be in a fun, exciting, fitness-focused, but also just hang out vibes community, where are you going to go? Vegan Squad! There it is. Yeah, you're coming to the Vegan Squad. All right, well, that's basically my life story in a nutshell, and then a little bit of fitness tips here and there. I just want to tell people, I'll answer this. Do I think that veganism has held me back in my career at any point in time as a bodybuilder or in any other sport? 100% without a doubt, no. I wouldn't be up here if I was not vegan. Quite frankly, I wouldn't give a crap about bodybuilding at this point. I've been burnt out on the sport for a little bit, but I have For Them written on my hand. I'm here for the animals. I push myself in the gym for the animals. I push my clients for the animals. You can ask Maya. I'm not the nicest or easiest coach, but I always give them what I believe is best for them on their journey. And I like to turn this back around. Like, I don't think I could have worked anywhere near as hard as I've worked or put myself through the things that I hate doing, like speaking on stage, if it wasn't for the animals. If the whole world went vegan tomorrow, I'm not getting on a stage. I'm going to maybe go swim or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'd do with myself. Until that happens, that's what I'm here to do. And for me, at least, as a bodybuilder, blood work comes back better on a plant-based diet. I feel like my athletes have come to me with better digestion, and it's been really cool to work with people that have been lifelong non-vegans and watch them transition over a period of time and then get in the best shape of their life. My girlfriend, somewhere out here, Allie, she's a relatively new vegan, only a couple years. She's the strongest she's ever been building muscle. She's 41, believe it or not. When you look at it, like, go look for like a late 20s woman and you'll find her. I don't believe that vegan holds anyone back. And then if we look at it, if we look at professional sports or the Olympics, I don't know the numbers, I don't want to lie, but like somewhere between 5 and 7 Olympic medalists at the last Olympics placed that were vegan. 0 for the carnivores. But when you look at the world's population, about 1% of the population is vegan, and we're having that many people medal and win in the world for the most competitive people in the world. I think it stands out. If you guys want to check out the Vegan Strong or the Plant Built team, what they do is they go around the world competing in bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit. I just got to see them at the Tampa Fit Fest earlier this year. And they bring these vegan teams into these non-vegan events, win, and it's like first place goes to so-and-so, and he's wearing a vegan shirt. Second place goes to so-and-so, and she's wearing a vegan shirt. Third place goes to so-and-so, and they're wearing a vegan shirt. And then people just start, they'll be like, what the hell is going on here? Why are vegans winning at this competition? And it's undeniable, because when it happens for one, when there's one vegan that wins, well, they got lucky, they had genetics, whatever. Or they're not even really vegan. But when it's 2, 3, 4, 5 people placing in the top that are vegan, then it's like, you can't refute it. You can't argue with it. You start to be like, well, maybe I should go learn about this a little bit. I'm not great with names, and I don't watch the NBA. It might be Dwight Howard, but it might not. I don't think it's Dwight Howard. I was talking with one of the doctors that was on the Game Changers, and they were working with one of the NBA players, and he said, don't tell anybody else that I'm vegan. He's like, what? Like, you think people will give you shit for being vegan? No. Like, this is my advantage. I'm beating everybody this playoff because I'm vegan and nobody else is. So maybe it's the best kept secret. I don't know. I think that I'll close on this. It's okay to question everything. Question your parents, question your relationships, question your schooling, question what you know about drugs, question what you've been told to eat, question what you've been told to believe. You're smart enough to make an educated and informed decision for yourself, or to go out and do some more research and find out, have these people been telling me my truth for my whole life, or their truth, or is there some other agenda here? Why have I been told these things? And then come back with an open mind and find out what you want to do with your life. There is only one person in the world currently holding you back from where you want to be. That is the person that you look at in the mirror. Nobody else can stop you. Not your parents, not your kids, not your significant other. No one else in the world can stop you from being where you want to be except for yourself. So I believe in all of you. I want to say thank you for giving me the time. It could be literally anywhere else in the world, talking to anyone else, listening to anyone else, doing anything else, and you're here and you're present. Thank you for being at this event. Thank you for being vegan. I sincerely hope that we see a world go more vegan before I die. That's what I'll do until I stop breathing. And when this is all done, Alex is going to inherit everything I have, so he can keep it up until he hands it to the next. Thank you guys for being here. I'll actually be inside if you guys want to hear a little bit more, ask any more questions. I don't know when that's supposed to go. About 30 minutes. Yes, sir.
You want to say if you're burnt out on bodybuilding, I invite you to come to my yoga.
Come to what?
Come to my yoga class.
Come to yoga class? Yeah. I will come to your yoga class. I need to do yoga. I need to get that back in my life. I've put bodybuilding on a pedestal for a long time. I need to round out and get some more moves in. So thank you everybody for being here. If you have any more questions, come on up. We can take the mic off and talk. And have the best day ever.